Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I call to order the Design Review Board for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. The first item on our agenda are the minutes of April 15, 2025. Are there any comments or corrections? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ann. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is 29 Hunting Lane. Is the applicant present? Good morning. Can you just take the podium and just tell us what your plans are?
Okay. Just
Yes.
they have technical questions.
Yes.
This is Jonathan Lopez, who's our contractor, who
Right.
has been working on the house since we've known it for 5 years. Just a little history. I've lived in the village for 30 years. Both the homes that we owned were in the historic district. I used to be on 27 Edwards Lane, which is behind East Hampton Star. And so we did 3 renovations on that. So I understand historical homes and what it takes to keep it in the historic district. We are now at 29 Hunting Lane, and we did not have to do a renovation on that. But I've been there for 5 years, and we have, as needed, the front windows are the original windows to the house. And we do have storm windows that are also on the house currently. I was out in January when we had that really cold snap, and the house was set to 72 degrees. When I came downstairs that morning, it was 62 degrees in the house. Even with the storm windows on, they are the worst windows ever. And we are just, we're just wasting energy. I mean, heat is just going out of that house. So, and it's really because of those windows, the rest of the house kind of stays warm. We close off the main. And then I had also the front, on the second floor, we had pipes freeze because that room was so cold and couldn't maintain the weather. So we're just asking to replace the windows. They will look exactly alike. Jonathan has worked closely with Riverhead?
Yeah, Riverhead Building Supply.
Riverhead.
Building. Yeah.
Building, yeah.
The window department.
Yeah,
Correct,
exactly.
correct.
And they're Marvin windows?
Marvin windows,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
is on the paperwork.
Everything's on the paperwork. He sent all the pictures also. They will look identical.
Yeah, I remember you. I do remember you mentioning this briefly before, that you had this problem.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
No, you guys take a look at the windows. I mean, my biggest concern is, number one, we're just wasting energy. And if there was a different way to do this, we'd do it, because we did a lot of things on the old house that, because this wasn't approved, that wasn't approved, fine.
Right.
There's no way to fix this other than get new windows. So.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
There are 3 of these diamond pane windows.
Those stay. I'm not taking those out.
Okay.
You're talking the top windows at the house?
Yeah, on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says per sketch on the Marvin order, but there are no.
Yeah, you know what? Jonathan priced every single window. There are some windows that I'm not going to replace, because when John Tarbert did the renovation, they're decent windows.
Right.
But, and the original windows, the diamond panes, I'm not replacing those, because for some reason those work. I don't know why, but they're set windows too. They don't open and close.
Okay, so.
Which is probably better.
Yeah.
It does not.
Yeah, so I'm not going to replace those. There's no need
That
to.
diamond detail.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
getting replaced.
Okay, so that is just on the schedule, but it's not.
Yeah, it's because we're showing you the pictures of the windows.
Yeah, I was asked to make sure to take pictures of every single window.
Right. Even the
In case,
ones.
even though we won't change them.
Yeah.
But I need to provide, that one also, I don't think we're changing it at all.
Well,
Oh, where's that one? That's
That was going to the 3rd floor.
Yeah, that's going to the 3rd floor. Those don't, because they don't open,
they work.
they work,
yeah.
yeah. No cold air comes through.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hollis, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Robert, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Sure. Billy, your input on?
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Billy Hajak for the village. So the historic district guidelines for Hunting Lane recommend retention of original windows when it's possible. If they're falling apart or require repair, it emphasizes repairing first. If repair is not possible, then replacement is recommended with exact replica.
Right.
So, we just have to ensure that they're exact replica. Okay. I think the critical windows here are the front facade, particularly the 3rd story elevation, so if those are not being touched, I think that's, a good thing. We leave them alone.
You're not touching them?
And the rest of the windows, if, as long as they're exact replicas, that's
Okay.
recommended.
Okay, okay. Board members, yeah.
Well, should we, just for the record, should we note which windows aren't going to be replaced?
Yes, why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Fancy windows.
Yeah,
Fancy windows.
okay, so basically the windows on the top floor will remain, am I correct?
With a diamond.
The diamond, yes, the diamond,
For that, okay, I'm sure you
yeah, oh, yeah, okay.
So it's just so we know what we're approving.
Yeah, any window that is like the diamond like that, I'm sure there's a name for this kind of window.
Leaded glass, yes.
Yeah, the
Yes,
leaded glass,
leaded
whatever,
glass.
those are not, I'm not replacing those. They don't let any air through, they're set windows, they're not a problem.
So, yes, yeah, thank you. And then also the square windows, yes.
Yeah, and that's on the way to the third floor, that
That was
doesn't,
not changing.
that's not changing either, that's a set window.
So then
We'll
essentially,
call them decorative windows, there you go,
Decorative
those don't get
windows.
changed.
so just make a note that the diamond-shaped windows and the decorative windows that do not open on the third floor and going to the third floor will not be replaced because they're adequate and they're within the guidelines. The only windows that are going,
She's got it named on the back of each.
oh, she has it named also. So the only windows that are going to be replaced are the operable windows, that move
In the front.
in the front. Okay.
And they're wood, yes.
And
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all
yeah,
wood.
they're,
So they're all wood and that meets the historic district. I have no problem with that. Anybody else?
No,
Okay.
but to be clear, it's the three that do not have pictures. It's
don't
the
have
three
pictures.
per sketches that you're not replacing.
Correct.
Okay, so do I,
And for the record, you can just,
yeah, and
Everything is written on the back as well.
everything's written on the back.
it's all
of
written on the back
picture
of the
for
pages
record. Okay.
for the record. Okay, so with that, I have no problem with that. To me, it meets the guidelines. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much.
thank you very, very much, appreciate it.
Thank you. And the next item on the agenda is Sochi Builders at 30 Race Lane. Is the applicant present? Good morning. And you could just explain what you're doing? Thank you. Introduce yourself.
Shannon McCaffrey, Due East Planning. We're requesting legalization of the strip lighting that was added to the previously approved freestanding sign for Sochi Builders at 30 Race Lane. The strip lighting is on the top, inside the channel on the top of the sign. And when it was initially installed, there was miscommunication between the sign installer and the plans. The plans didn't initially call it out. And so we're requesting the legalization, and it's going to be proposed to be set on a dimmer to the lowest setting so that there's no spillage of light into the sidewalk. And so if any other questions, let me know.
I question why it's a builder. You're not a retail space or a restaurant why does it need to be lit so brightly at night?
Yeah, I
I mean, people,
personally,
unless you're a client of the building company, it's just for advertising, it would appear.
It is just so that it can be advertised and that people see the sign and the company as they're driving by at night. All the other signs on that street are lit as well, including the Market, Sam's, M&R. And so it is in keeping with that area.
my problem is I just see that the lighting, the strip lighting, that type of lighting, tape lighting, is just too bright. And maybe you could utilize some other type of little bulbs or something like this for illumination.
Well, I think because just how small the sign is, I think it would be difficult to get the bulbs into the sign.
Or maybe you could just have a little gooseneck light like the sign, with the,
Traditional.
yeah, because it's,
Right, we looked at doing goosenecks, but it is a unique sign given the size of the building. It's I forget exactly what height, I think it's only like 2.5 feet off. So if we did gooseneck lights that went from like the back of the sign, it would be like in your head off high.
Lighting on the ground and just have it project up. Yes, that's inoffensive. It's not on, it's not taking anything away.
I can,
Yeah.
we haven't discussed that, so I can bring that back to him.
Billy, what's your input on this?
Good morning, board members. Billy Hayjack for the Village. I submitted a very brief memo to the board, and my comments are laid out in there. I mean, it's just, the only thing I'd add is it's a little unusual to have a light system that's so bright that requires dimming for it to be almost looking like it's compliant. I mean, so the material indicates that it's 2700 Kelvin, but the brightness level doesn't, from my naked eye, and I'm not a lighting expert, but it's extremely bright when it's on full setting. So I just think having something that's controllable, it'd probably be better just to have a light that appears compliant without regulating it, controlling it.
Exactly, and people will forget to dim it. I think it's better if you maybe come back with a light fixture that's on the ground that maybe would just project up for the light. It's a little more delicate. This is like a little
In your face.
too intense.
I think, given the white background of the sign and the strip lighting is why it comes off so bright. It was connected to a Lutron system, so it's not like a dimmer switch that would get.
So I think
But I can bring back the
I
comments.
would research it and just find a light that's suitable, that's, not so bright. Yeah, okay.
Right, I'll
Thank you very much.
bring it back to them.
Thank you. The next item is 47 Newtown Lane, the sign lighting. Good morning. Please introduce yourself, tell us what you'd like to do.
Hello, I'm Joe Mastromateo with Cardinal by Tom Brady. We have an application in to replace the two lights that exist today and put the 4 additional lights that we have current J boxes for across the facade of the store.
Yes, right. Board members, any questions?
What is the Kelvin of this light?
So they're 3,000. So I was working, Billy reached out to me a few times to cut it down to 2,700. I have a lighting gel that we're going to apply that'll be permanent, and it'll filter the light down to 2,700.
And you're right. And there are 7, am I correct? 7, it looks like 7 lights?
6.
6, okay, all right. Right.
And originally, how many were there?
And originally, yes. How many?
Originally, how
I
many?
think
were-
originally there were 6 because the J boxes are there. They're all live. We had an electrician
Okay.
test them.
Okay,
What I think happened is when the 2 awnings went up, they pulled the 2 on the left and 2 on the right down to put the awnings up.
yeah, I do remember the 2 warnings there. Okay, thank you. Billy, your input on this application?
Good morning, board members. Billy Hayjack for the Village. Yeah, if they could control the Kelvin by putting the filter on it, that would be helpful given the number of fixtures that are proposed. And here, this building has changed multiple times throughout the years in terms of storefronts. I believe there are 6 locations, 6 boxes for lighting fixtures. Multiple times this was split up into 2 stores. So I believe there were 2 signs here. Actually, there were 3 when the film festival was upstairs. They actually had the center location, and then there were 2 signs on both sides. So it's changed throughout the years. The latest, most recent had 2 fixtures, 2 gooseneck fixtures on there. So as long as they can adjust it to 2,700 Kelvin and they're directed down, there's no problem.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Board members, I'm sorry, questions?
As long as it's
Yeah.
at 2,700.
Yeah, 27.
And is it really necessary to have 6? Is it going to be awfully bright?
Just to balance the building out,
Right.
but we can cut it down even more than 2,700.
Yeah.
Visually looking at it, it would look off balance.
Yeah, right.
It's nice.
That's fine.
Like it.
I have no problem with that. Okay. With that, do I have a motion to approve the application?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Great. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Next is 100 Montauk Highway, 100 Montauk EH LLC.
Oh, the Rolex. Rolex is next.
Rolex. Yeah.
If you need a new agenda.
Oh, okay. Rolex is next. Okay. Oh, they changed it. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Rolex, 28 Newtown Lane, lighting fixtures. Is the applicant present? Good morning.
Morning, Tara Burke from Lighthouse Land Planning, here on behalf of Rolex. Thank you, Chairman Crusoe. So this is you saw this somewhat recently and approved several outdoor elements of the property. And at the time, 4 of those 10-inch high, they're actually 9 and 7/8 inch high bollards were approved on the front brick walkway. And we'd now like to add 4 more to the other side to balance it out. When they did the install, the light doesn't spill quite on the whole path. And because the business is intended to be open year-round, they wanted to add some symmetry and light the whole brick walkway. So,
Yeah, more balance, yes. Board members, any questions?
Again, what's the Kelvin on these lights?
they're 3,000, the same as what you approved previously. And they're less than 10 inches high off the ground.
Okay. Well,
Seems
do they
like-
come 2,700 or something like,
I do not know if they do or not.
Because we're doubling now,
right?
not only are they
And
bright.
how far are they separated?
They are, well, actually, you know what, I'd be guessing. I don't know how far apart they are, but I can tell you, let's see if the plan submitted has the dimensions. The brick walkway goes from Main Street up to that front brick patio area, and I can't see without glasses in that small rendering. I don't know if any of you guys can.
They look like they're
Do you have a
9,
sample
9,
of the fixture with you?
No, I don't. It's the same one that you approved last time.
Is
6
it-
foot,
I know,
6
but we
inches.
approved just half the
Yeah, it's
quantity.
gonna be half.
Right.
Is the size in the rendering correct
Um,
to scale?
I didn't make the rendering. I can't answer that with any sort of divinity, but,
We have it 6 feet, 6 inches on the front.
oh, perfect.
6 feet wide.
6 feet, 6 inches between.
Between each one.
I think 6 feet, sir, I think that could absorb that without any problem. Yeah. It's like 3 feet, but 6 feet is pretty wide. Thank you. So Billy, what is your take on this? No comment. So board members, it's up to you. I think 6 feet.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that at all. So if,
I don't,
Yeah.
there's a safety issue too.
yeah, there is, yes. I think it's fine. Anybody, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next thing is Staud, S-T-A-U-D, 27 Newtown Lane. Is the applicant present? Good morning.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm the store manager for Staud. And we're just applying to change the pattern of the umbrella and chair display outside of 23 Newtown.
Yes.
So it'll be the same display, just our new summer pattern, basically.
Yeah. I don't have any problem with that at all. Okay. Any board members, any? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. Have a nice day. The next item is 100 Montauk EH LLC, 100 Montauk. Is that? Good morning. Yes, just.
Morning. This is Elliot Fisher with Tarbin Lester, the applicant.
Good morning. Could you tell us what you plan on doing?
So basically, we're planning on taking down and rebuilding the existing building that's currently there. Currently, was a restaurant. The plan is to tear it down and rebuild new office space with accessory housing on the second floor.
Yeah. Okay. Board members, any questions?
I know, you state that there's going to be 14 parking places, but when you actually look at the plan, here we have 12 on these plans, and if you've got 4 offices plus apartments upstairs, is that adequate? That's my question.
How large are the apartments?
Hi, Michael Derrick, for owner of the property and the designer of the site plan and stuff, landscape architect. They're one-bedroom apartments.
Okay.
They're for a single, one person. I guess, the thing with the restaurant to begin with, which was always the issue in the village, was that there was never enough parking, right? It's a 66-seat restaurant with 13 parking spots. That's why the people who owned the house was combined property, basically, even though it was two, single and separate, that they always parked in the back. And that's why the village made them cut that off and put plants in front of it, because when it was Nichols, they filled the entire back of their property of 94 Montauk Highway to, do the restaurant. So when I bought it, just because I was tired of looking at this dilapidated building across from the building that I'm in now, what to do with it was to, was going to fix it up, but it's in such bad, it's like a shanty in the back and stuff like that, that we decided to build the new building.
Yeah. It always had the parking problem there.
Yeah, so it's still a problem. So, but the only way to make it really work was, it's pretty tight, I agree.
Yeah.
But, is to carve out more of the front, but I think you can see by the site plan how nicely proportionally landscaped it is. It's the same thing with the building across the street. I only have 18 parking spots, and then what I have in is a covenant, or I forget exactly what they call it, because I need more parking spots, but the board back then, when I went for the variances, granted me, I forget exactly the term, and I put it in a bank, so in case I started spilling out on the street, you guys would come and make me carve out this garden and stuff that I have in the back of my building, because I only have so many people in the building. The restaurant required a lot of spaces.
I remember it very well.
Yeah, so that's kind of a similar kind of thing. I mean, I don't know how else to really, besides just make it entire, carve out 2 more right in the front of the building, which we could do. We could do the same kind of thing we did across the street, and it turns out to be a problem.
Michael, thank you. Yeah. Billy, your input on this application?
Good morning, board members. Billy Hajak for the village. So this is a change of use. So it's a pre-existing non-conforming restaurant. They're converting it to an office with 2 apartments. The project, the whole process is that the design review board has to issue site plan approval. The zoning board issues a special permit, and the project needs multiple variances. And for a special permit, the design review board is required to conduct your preliminary review or provide some general feedback on the project. And the code requires that before the applicant can obtain the special permit and variances from the zoning board. So this is the first step in the process. So you'll have other opportunities to comment on the project and design, but if you have any preliminary comments, they should be offered now. In terms of parking, the project requires 14 spaces and they're providing 12.
Okay.
I would say that the apartments, our code requires 2 parking spaces for each apartment. And since they're 1-bedroom apartments, you could make the case that it's an aggressive amount of parking for the 2 apartments. Because, if they're 1-bedroom, chances are you're gonna have 1 vehicle for each apartment. They do have enough parking for the office space. It's the apartments that sort of put them over the top. And because they are over their sewage flow for the site, the apartments are gonna require a transfer of development or density credit. We do that in conjunction with the town. And as a condition of that, the apartments will be a regulated income. So it's a benefit for the village to have regulated income apartments here. So that's a positive aspect of the project. And then the other elements of it, I had a couple of minor comments regarding the overall design of the site, which was the gate in the back. We really shouldn't have a connection to the rear residential parcel, and the squaring off of the landscaping is a minor adjustment that I'm suggesting they make. Other than that, the building looks very attractive. It's a residential design, looks, I think it would reflect nicely on the character of the area. So,
Yeah,
if
I
you have
agree.
any specific questions for me, I can.
Any questions specific? I personally think that if we could try to go ahead and have 14 spaces, parking spaces, that would be a positive. And I recommend that we also maybe square off a little bit of the landscaping. And anybody else?
There's a basement underneath, a full basement underneath as well, for storage?
Yeah, the plans define it as mechanicals and storage area.
The design is very nice.
Michael, the design is
Yeah,
beautiful.
it really is.
It's always been an eyesore, that project. It was really awful, but.
Yeah, we've had issues with outdoor. I mean, before the village had an outdoor dining code provision, that was a struggle to chase around the outdoor dining that occurred there. The parking was kind of a dangerous situation, so.
I remember sitting at the old restaurant and hoping that a car wouldn't go out of control and take us all out. I mean, I worried about that for about maybe 15 years, but yeah.
Any other questions for me?
Thank you. Any questions for Billy? Okay. Okay, with that, I guess this concludes our preliminary review. And then, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. The next item is 10 Pantico LLC, Fifth and Dune Partners. Thank you. Can you just explain what you do?
One owner of Fifth and Dune, as well as the sole owner of 10 Panago Road. I'm here today to seek permission from the board to re-replicate the original aesthetic when the building was originally constructed in 1895. It had a solid painted cedar balustrade on the front porch, which I would like to recreate in kind as a tribute to the original design, in addition to increasing the current width of the driveway entrance, which is slightly less than 9 feet. It poses significant risk of concern, to get an ambulance down there in the event of an emergency, and wholeheartedly because of the amount of traffic. We are not exceeding the required 30% of the total square footage of the lot. We're just simply modifying to widen up the spot for entrance and exit and maintain a total of 8 parking place spots. I have better photographs of the original balustrade that we can show as well, that we found through East Hampton Star from 1946.
So are you doing it on the first and second floor?
Unfortunately, the second floor was modified in 1979, where they reconstructed the dormers, so it can't accommodate. We'd only be doing the first floor.
Is there any way to recreate the second floor?
It would require significant structural work, and we're currently conducting a full renovation of the interior, where Mr. Hefner in 1979 noted that the extensive dormer review, because they used to have two radius dormers and they were connected. Now there's so much structural integrity separating each dormer that goes all the way down. It'd be a tall ask.
Billy, your
Good morning, board members. Billy Hajak for the village. I have no comments regarding the overall scope of the project. It'd be nice restoration here, and I think they're going to do a fine job. My only comment is related to the proposed landscaping. I think the evergreen hedge would be appropriate around the back and the side facing the Citarella parking lot. Similarly on the eastern side, easterlymost side, I would just ask that they maintain privet up to the front facade of the building, and then the evergreen can continue past from the front porch to the rear of the property. The plans called out an evergreen hedge going up to almost to the sidewalk, within 10 feet of the sidewalk. And right now it's privet. It's not very well maintained, but I think if that were maintained, it'd be a more residential look and not a wall of green. That's kind of the guide. This is the historic district, but it's also in the limited office district. The historic district guidelines suggest, hedge type, low hedging for the front. So
I agree with you totally.
Yeah.
It's just people I think they're just carried away with these evergreen walls, and the evergreen walls are like 30 feet high, and it's just a little too much. It's like a new kind of a design that people are using, and I think it's too much.
I mean, here you have very limited amount of space with the parking, and so screening the residences behind and the parking lot from Citarella's makes total sense. It's just it's that one section on the north side. I would suggest they look at that.
Okay, if you could we just put that down in our notes? If you could conform to that, I don't see a problem.
Certainly.
But I understand why you would want it around the rest.
Yeah, around the rear perimeter, certainly. The preservation program for Hook Mill District does stipulate that we need to maintain nothing higher than 6 foot for that evergreen screening. The privet, the California privet that is located right now, we would just want to trim that back because it's supposed to be trimmed at 4 foot. So when people are exiting my office, they have clear visibility of the pedestrians on the sidewalk. So that will be trimmed at a 45-degree angle until it hits the 6 foot elevation.
At present, this is a gravel driveway, correct?
Yes, it is.
And you want to pave that now?
Yes.
And what, asphalt, concrete?
Asphalt.
Does anybody have a problem?
I think the nature of the village lends more with the privet and a gravel driveway than a hard paved.
I personally like the pebble, the 3/8 inch bluestone driveways, or in that order, as opposed to asphalt, which it looks like too industrial. And it looks too commercial.
I do believe that this document does stipulate that we can replace driveway surfacing with any said materials.
What do you?
The design guidelines for the historic districts don't regulate the surface material. However, site plan review powers give you the power to review the overall site, stipulate gravel, pebble, asphalt.
Yeah.
I would note that most of the residential properties in the immediate area do have driveways. The lot immediately to the east doesn't have an asphalt driveway. Citarella is obviously a driveway.
Okay.
It's a preference, but it's not uncommon for the area.
Okay. Okay, that suits me fine. Yes, I would just do the with the evergreens, put that down. Yes. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the application?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a lovely day. And any other questions, board members? Okay. That looks like it concludes our agenda for today. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.